How you guys doing today? I want to talk to you guys about how when you're raised religious, you have an unrealistic view of the world. And I'm sure a lot of you guys could probably relate to this because being raised very religious, it does give you an unrealistic view of the world. Um, I look at how I was raised and how I was brought up. Uh, I had a very religious upbringing, and when you're raised that way, you don't understand how the real world works. You think um, that if I just pray for a miracle, that everything is just gonna fall out of the sky, and you think that everything is gonna be all right. And when you're raised very religious, you think that if I just do the right thing, and if I walk the straight and narrow path, and if I try to be a good person, that everything is going to work in my favor. But that's not how the real world works. That's not how things really work in this real world. Um, in this real world, you got to do something to get a return. And that's one of the detriments of being raised religious. And I'm sure a lot of people could relate to like being raised in the church and stuff. You think that if I just walk this straight and narrow path, if I just try to be this good person, if I just pray 5, 6 times a day, that this miracle is going to fall out of the sky. And it doesn't, things don't work that way in the real world. In the real world, you gotta do something. And this is one of the detriments of being raised very religious, because you thinking in your mind, well, I'm gonna just pray about it, you know. And growing up in church and stuff, you heard a lot of people say that I'm gonna just pray about it, you know. I realized all the time that I spent sitting around just praying about it, I could have been doing something about it. And while I was sitting around praying for a miracle and hoping that things work out, I could have been proactive. And that's how religion messes your mind up, because you thinking in your mind, I'm going to just pray. You got to put some action behind praying. And, you know, I used to hear the preachers even say all the time when I did go to church, I used to hear the preacher always say that faith without works is dead. So they telling you that you got to do something. But see, a lot of people think, especially when you're raised religious like that, a lot of people think, I'ma just pray. A lot of people think I'ma just pray and that all my problems gonna go away. But it don't work that way, you know? And that's what I had to understand. Like, I wasted a lot of time myself praying, you know, praying about a circumstance when I could have been doing something about a circumstance, because nothing is gonna fall out of the sky. And and that's one of the detriments of being raised very religious. You start thinking that things are just gonna manifest and stuff is gonna fall out of the sky. And in the real world, things don't work that way. You got to get out here and put in the work. And that's why it can be very detrimental to a person being raised very religious, because you thinking in your mind, I'ma just hope for a miracle. And sitting around hoping for stuff, you know, it's not gonna give you what you want. And I wish that I could have had this mindset long time ago. If I had the mindset that I got now long time ago, I'd have been further ahead in life. I would have been in a way better place than where I am now if I had this mindset long time ago. If I had the mindset of you know, get up off your behind and do something. Like, you know, don't sit up there praying for no miracle to fall out of no sky. Put in the work to get what you want. And I wish I would have had this type of mindset a long time ago. But see, that religion, it keeps you in that delusional state of mind. It keeps you thinking that, oh, I'm just going to pray about it, and I'm just going to hope, things work itself out, when in actuality, you got to do something. And another way religion can give you an unrealistic view of the world, religion will have you thinking that if I just go out into the world and be a good person, if I just go out into the world and try to be nice and, do people right, that, everything will work in my favor. Religion will have you thinking like that. But things in the real world don't work that way. Being a nice person in the real world and trying to walk the straight and narrow path in the real world, that's not going to give you the rewards that you're really looking for, because there are people, the world is a wicked and evil place with a lot of wicked and evil people. So just walking the straight and narrow path and trying to be this good person, that's not going to get you nowhere neither. That'll get you used by people. It'll get you hurt. It'll get you taken advantage of and done wrong. And that's why I say being raised all religious like this is very, very detrimental, because it'll have you just thinking that I'm gonna just go out into the world and just be a Mr. Rogers. And in the real world, being a Mr. Rogers will get you knocked off. Being a Mr. Rogers will have people thinking that you're slow. Being a Mr. Rogers will get you knocked upside the head. You can't be no Mr. Rogers in the real world. But see, that religion, it had me thinking that I could just be this nice person and just try to be nice to people and be friendly with people. And it had me thinking that, oh, if I be that kind of person, oh, everything will be all right. No, everything ain't going to be all right now. You gonna find yourself getting hurt. And that's how religion messes people's minds up. Have them thinking that if I just be a good person and if I just try to do the right thing, that everything's going to be okay. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way in the real world. And that's what I had to learn. But see, had I not been raised so religious, I would have never had that type of thought process anyway. Thinking that, oh, if I just be this nice person, if I just be a good person, that I'm going to go far and everything is going to be okay. Because I had to come to the terms and realize that you can do all the right things in life. You can walk the straight and narrow path. You can try to be good all you want, and you'll still get SOL. You'll be SOL. And that's what I had to come to terms and understand. Trying to be a goody two-shoes and trying to walk this straight and narrow path and trying to live a righteous life, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Because this world is an evil place anyway. And going out of your way trying to be this good person and trying to be all nice and stuff, it's just going to get you done wrong. And that's why I say it's not good to be raised religious, because I see that being raised religious, it gives you an unrealistic view of the world. You don't understand how things really operate in this real world. This is why I say being raised very religious can be a detriment to you. And I see that now. The older that I've gotten in my life, I see that being raised, especially the way I was raised, especially the way I was raised. I'm pretty sure you guys can probably relate as well. You guys that was raised in the church and raised all religious, I'm sure you guys can definitely understand where I'm coming from. I'm sure you can understand that being raised this way, it gives you an unrealistic view of the world. It really does. You don't understand how things really go down in the real world. And being this righteous type of person and trying to walk the straight and narrow path and trying to be this goody two shoes, you know, that ain't gonna get you nothing in life. But taking advantage of done wrong, and in some cases it could get your head bust. But I felt this would be a good topic to talk about. You guys have a great day.